Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a little longer than I meant for it to be since I did a video. We're going to start with YouTube comments, and then I do have some asks, plenty of asks as well. So this may end up being more than one video. I've also been trying to do a deep dive into Carl, which I've pretty much done on my end, but I haven't gotten all the pictures together for it. So I've got a few things to give you over the next week or week and a half. And I will get them out as soon as I can, I promise. All right, so some of these comments are from like 3 weeks ago. I'm going to try to go through them all. Like I said, I just haven't gotten to them recently. So let's start with this one from 3 weeks ago. I remember Emily saying in an interview that she talked Gimple out of giving her a big head injury that meant she had to shave part of her hair during the hospital arc. And she said if they were going to kill her off, she'd like to be able to get a job after that, so Gimple didn't give her the big injury he was planning. The question she was answering was whether any of them had talked Gimple and the writers out of doing something to their character that they didn't want to happen. I always thought that was an interesting story because it made me think that even if they hadn't told Beth she was going to die, she would have suspected it. This isn't me trying to refute anything or state anything. I just liked the story. I kind of vaguely remember that, her talking about them giving her an injury and maybe shaving her hair. But I don't know. This also seems a little bit suspect to me, especially because there's that story where it was after season 4, but before season 5, that Norman told about him teasing Emily about having her head shaved. So what that could point to, on the one hand, is them in season 4 already knowing that she was going to get a head injury and that Norman knew about it and was teasing her about it. But it also just seems sus to me that so many people brought it up in random stories and interviews, like they were trying to hint at something at the head injury, you know? And that's just, I mean, that in and of itself doesn't necessarily prove that she did or didn't die, but if you know someone's going to get shot in the head and die, why do you keep talking about a head injury? It's just really odd for them to do that. So yeah, I mean, I vaguely remember that, and it is really interesting. But I feel like they might have been kind of dropping clues in mentioning that so often. But of course, we don't know. So, all right, next one. Hey, so I did find out later the stuntman has occasionally done second unit directing work on the show, so that's likely what it was. I believe the final episode's director was confirmed Daniel Percival. This is related to an ask I did a while ago about a stuntman who was directing, and people were thinking that maybe they were trying to hide who the director was. So yeah, maybe that was a thing, maybe it wasn't. Sometimes it seems a little weird, and then we kind of find an explanation for it. So yeah, thanks for letting us know about that. All right, let's see. Let's try this one. Yeah, for the boots that were labeled for an SFX shot, the only thing I could think of that could apply to Encota is the 800 walker scene that we've never seen. There's no way that wasn't some kind of SFX shot. Yeah, I agree. Um, and I go back to as well that they must have done, I mean, if to not want a lot of blood on the boots or to want them a certain way suggests that there was going to be some sort of close-up shot of the boots and they needed them to look a certain way, which is why they didn't want anyone to wear them for them to get scuffed up or get anything on them that would mess up the SFX shot. So it does suggest something that we haven't seen, where there was some sort of close-up on the boots that, certainly we didn't see in Coda. So yeah, for sure. Around this was 11 days ago when Emily was seen, and I was not answering asks and things just yet. Let's see. EK has finally been spotted filming. Even better, that trip in December to the Northeast apparently was for filming Dead City as well. As someone has said, they shot a scene with her then. She's going to be in multiple scenes and episodes, it looks like. Yay. Um, Happy New Year. Oh, I missed you too. Glenn's death, my brother-in-law, right, was one of those general audience type fans who loved the show but dropped it cold turkey after they did Glenn like that. We've discussed it a few times over the years. I'll personally never think the showrunners thought how graphic they shot that for such a popular character through enough beforehand. I get they wanted shock value and surprise with the lineup deaths, but I don't think that one landed at all the way they assumed it would. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I kind of think they knew what they were doing. I think, especially because a lot of the actors were saying beforehand, that it was going to be a really rough episode. I mean, they had obviously seen some of the footage, And I think it was just a gamble for them, but they decided to go ahead and do it. And I think you're right that they lost a lot of people over it because that's just personal violence on a level that a lot of people can't deal with, and I don't blame them. I've never gone back and rewatched it. I watched it the first time, but I do not feel the need to rewatch that over and over again because it was so dark. So yeah, I don't know. I think it landed the way they wanted to personally, but it was just a gamble, and they just decided to go for it because, for something that was on television, it was pretty groundbreaking, and I think that's kind of what they were going for. But yeah, lots of people like your brother-in-law that just stopped watching after that. So, and I really don't blame them. Um, let's see. Here we go. Green is associated with the heart and related to healing, compassion, and growth in spiritual traditions. I think that could be part of it too, seeing as Glenn is known for being the compassionate one. Um, oh, this is from an old video that I did a long time ago about the use of colors. Um, and I just got a new comment on it. Yeah, so for sure, you can go check out that old video if you want. Let's see. Me going straight to the angry caroler post link. I'd be happy if Beth comes back in either show. Hey, me too. All right. Woo, I am still flipping out 2 days later. Knew this was what she had to be up to. I fully believe she's been filming stuff for Dead City much more extensively than this. Based on filming spoilers, this is not the only AU or dream sequence that we are going to see, just the only one Emily was blatantly spotted in, and it's so obvious that they wanted people filming and releasing for this promo. Some of the videos that have come out, people are literally standing right next to the crew while they're actively filming the scene. Yeah, for sure. Um, let's see. They definitely, yeah, were trying to release it to drum up hype and everything. I totally agree with you there. Honestly, the AU angle is sending me. Finally, there is something super interesting focused on the OG characters we care about, for sure. Me and my fellow theorists keep talking about that, about how for so many years we've looked at things and said, oh, this is pointing to Beth, or oh, this feels like something that's got symbolism beneath it. And now it actually is about her, and she's definitely there. And it's almost kind of trippy for that to be the case, but it's wonderful. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Remember DC 24 when Negan opens the Rockaway Towing truck number 18? I did a post on it at the time. Yes, I do remember that. I think that sequence will be some type of foreshadow concerning how Maggie, Negan, and Beth will be connected. Yeah, and people have been sending me things about stuff that happened in the first couple of seasons of Dead City. I need to go back and rewatch them. I've literally only watched all of the episodes once. So, or well, I mean, in a few cases, I would watch the episode twice right after it came out. Watch it and then watch it again. But I haven't watched any of them since their original air date. So I'm rusty on remembering what's in them, and I'm going to try to rewatch them before the third season starts. So what if in this dream sequence, Daryl is also there and Beth gives him a Christmas present? Ooh, that would be amazing. Fulfilling the I never. That would be so cool. I hope you're right about that. Um, I have definitely theorized that Negan could be the one to find her. They've had a huge problem with Negan Maggie. Like, how do you keep him around? And in any way be realistic that Maggie not only hasn't killed him, but seems to have, at the very least, a camaraderie with him. It's been a massive problem for the show, like either kill each other or kiss each other already. And boy, how wrong that would be. So, how do you actually redeem Negan fully as a character for Maggie? Yes, he could maybe save Herschel or something, but we've kind of already seen that. I think the way you do it is have him be integral to Beth returning. I could see Maggie going like, okay, we're even now, and sorry to flood your comments. It's okay, I don't mind. Yeah, I think so too. And this is something that I said to Galadriel Jones, and she mentioned it in one of her metas that she did right after this happened. It's just, you guys, I'm going to do a deep dive into Carl, and I mentioned this on my other video, so I already said that Carl, his death led to Beth in some way because he saved Negan, but I'm going to show you the way that they have laid that out for us, and it just wasn't really super obvious until now. Um, but I definitely think that Negan bringing Beth back to Maggie in some way would be a big redemption arc for him, for sure, in order to make up for killing Glenn. I mean, obviously he can't bring Glenn back, but if he can bring back her sister, who she thought was dead, then that's going to be a big deal. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there. All I could focus on is AK's blonde hair and pink cap are reminding me of the yellow plus pink music box, aka Little Beth. 100% agree. We are definitely going to be analyzing the crap out of it. I spit my drink out because, oh yes, we will, lol. You just know they're going to throw in so much stuff for us to dissect, and it'll be on purpose for sure. Yep, agreed. There's the Caryler. Let's see, what did we get for replies? Hashtag mood. You guys are so funny. I love your comments. Just gonna give these all a quick heart. Okay, what else we got? Let's see. Went through most of these. Oh, I did that one. Let's see. Keep going. That may be all of them. I'm not sure if you're right about any of this, but man, I hope you are. Thank you. Okay, we've got a couple more up here. Um, the word green below the Mona Lisa. Okay, so this is about the video where there's the Mona Lisa thing on the wall, which is from Daryl Dixon, and then there's the word green. If you watch the actual episode, it's actually very clear and obvious, much more so than the picture. I'm really surprised we didn't catch that before. Um, but when they get out of the hospital, is it the front door or no? That's a good question. I'm not sure. To me, it never really looked like the front door. It's not big enough. But if it does say Grady Memorial Hospital right above the door, then it might be. I don't know. I'll have to look in that. I'll just see if I can, because we know that that's actually a vacant hospital that they use for filming. They used it in Walking Dead more than once, and they use it for other shows too. Um, so I'm not sure if that's the front door or not. So this has to do with the front door, back door symbolism that I talked about before, and I said I would get back to you guys with a better answer on that. So this is, I think, all the comments. So yeah, thank you for those. Let me switch over real fast. Okay, so we have this. I was listening to your DDS2 analysis. I think it was on episode 4. You mentioned there being backdoor, back exit symbolism for Daryl, but it wasn't explained. I looked through your index and I couldn't find anything on it. Will you please explain the backdoor symbolism and what you think it means for Daryl? And I mentioned it briefly, but I said I was going to try to get a better answer. So I talked to my fellow theorists about it. And it's just the kind of thing that we've talked about several times. I don't know that we've actually nailed down what it means, but we did have a little bit of a conversation for it. So hold on. Okay, so I just asked them about the door symbolism and what they remembered about it. I remember us talking about it a lot during Find Me. So this is kind of, I'm just going to read through the conversation that we had. The door thing, I do remember us talking about Daryl entering the back door of the cabin, but after Leah tied him up and then decided to let him go, I'm pretty sure he left by the front door. Also, his memories of Leah that we saw in Find Me were of her sitting on the front porch steps. So his memories, and with Carol, it was all about the front and not the back. I don't know if that means anything. Um, As for the backdoor thing, that's still one of those things that to me obviously has meaning, but I just can't put my finger on it. So this is why I mentioned it, but I didn't really explain it because it's been kind of hard for us to nail down. In When the Dead Comes Knocking, which is season 3, we get our Alamo reference, and then they throw the crazy guy out the front door while sneaking out the back door. That's a pre-Gimple reference, though. He was not the showrunner yet. So to start in season 4, there's obviously Alone. Daryl tells Beth very clearly that he sealed the place up tight and that the front door is the only way in or out. This reminds me of something I wanted to tell you guys after I rewatched Alone the other night. He says this in the little funeral room where Beth is playing the piano. I have thought about this so many times, but this was the first time I wondered if maybe the house was actually bugged and somebody was listening to them, because the way he says it, it's so pointed, and then nothing is made of it again. But then that very night, the walkers come to the front door. Since it's a pretty big house, there must obviously be other ways in and out, that the walkers come right up to the front door, which is confirmed to be the only way in or out. That just made me wonder if someone was listening to their conversation. In this instance, it was Daryl's overabundant caution in trying to protect them, trying to protect Beth, that led to their demise. If he'd have left one more door open, they'd have had a safe route to escape. Um, Season 4 also has another big backdoor reference in Terminus. Terminus has two sides, the front facing and the back facing. In Us, Glenn and his group arrive at the front door where they're greeted by Mary, and everything seems beautiful and hopeful, and there are sunflowers facing the sky. But in A, Rick and his group enter Terminus through the back door where they see the underbelly and what's hidden beneath the mask. It's an immediate breach of trust, which spurns Gareth and sets into motion the chase. In the context of this episode, I thought of it as a metaphor for the show itself. We only see what the powers that be show us, meaning the front door or the front facing material. Everything we get to see, it's through the front door, and that seems a certain way. Most people take it on face value, but there's also this implication of a back door or the inside story, the underbelly of what's really going on, which is borderline sinister and full of surprises. In the scene where they're running through the grounds, it feels like the friendly layers of Terminus are being peeled back one by one. We don't actually see any evidence of cannibalism until this point, when they run through like a bloody boneyard full of human remains. To me, Terminus is a major metaphor for Gimple's storytelling at this point. Then there's that which can be seen and that which cannot be seen. The concept is repeated in what happened and what's going on, which is Tyrese's death episode, right? The front door is what we get, the back door is what's real. So then I answer and I said, yeah, I like all of this, and it's coming a little clearer to me now. I hadn't thought about it being an analogy for Gimple's storytelling. Good call on that. I really like it. As to what it portends in the plot, escape does seem to be a big part of it. As I already said in my video, it has to do with escaping in an unseen way. Beth didn't walk out the main doors with Team Family and escape with them in the way everyone thought she would in Coda. There's another different as yet unseen route or escape that allowed her to live. The exact same thing is mirrored in Rick's CRM arc. I'm glad to get more examples, such as When the Dead Come Knocking. I always forget about that one. I think Daryl did enter Leah's cabin originally through the side door, and I'm not sure if that ties in or if it's different symbolism. I mean, she does take him captive. In that case, he's going in, not escaping, but it does line up with Terminus example. And at the end of the day, Leah wasn't truly Beth or Daryl's happy ending. She was a villain. And we more so thought that had to do with him randomly stumbling onto Beth in a place he wasn't looking for her to be. I'm also wondering now if there was more of the symbolism in him throwing the fish at her front door and her not answering. Anyway, I thought of a line from the last unicorn. You have let your doom in through the front door, but it will not depart that way. Um, so, I mean, anyway, I'll just keep reading. So it makes sense that that it's about an unseen escape or coming in unseen in order to observe the true nature of things. Um, Yes, I think there's something about escaping through the back door. I believe that in an episode of Daryl Dixon season 1, Daryl and Isabel go back to Isabel's apartment, and Daryl asks if there's a back door, which they use to escape. The fact that there is no back door in Alone suggests that there was no escape. If we use the metafictional layer, this might suggest their path or their fate was sealed. So I said, okay, so back door or side door equals multiple choices. As you've already said, none equals they're at the mercy of people trying to victimize them. We could maybe even rope in the fact that Beth and Noah escaped through the basement. There was a crap ton of symbolism in that having to do with death and escape and yellow and all kinds of things. But it was another way to get out since Dawn wouldn't simply let them walk out the front door. This is a slight digression, but with Terminus, I always pictured Gareth as like the story's arbiter or judge, a symbol of the powers that be. Like he's there um, through the back door pulling the strings, like the man behind the curtain. He gives Rick a choice, and in this, the opportunity to change the story going forward. After Rick makes his choice, Gareth becomes the almost cartoonish evil cannibal villain. But I believe that if Rick had made a different choice, the choice to trust, Gareth would have become a friend. It's like a commentary on writing. Nothing happens in a story until characters make choices. So within their own little logic, a character paves his own way forward. The writer is just the person that facilitates it all. I initially got this idea from the way that Gareth refers to the characters in A, not by their names, but by their archetypes. The ringleader, the kid, the samurai, the archer. It's like he's setting up the pieces. The way they are using guns too, not to kill, but to direct the characters and herd them down the right path and into the right train car to keep them off B and on A. It truly makes Rick and Team Family feel like pawns being moved around a chessboard. In A, that's when Rick becomes the villain, leading to Beth's perceived death. But I feel like this is a commentary on the nature of storytelling overall. Like stories can change and can contain secrets which become more important later on. Perhaps if Rick had chosen to be trusting, he would have gone to Grady with a calmer disposition. He would not have killed Bob. Beth would have lived. Beth's death is like the Schrodinger's cat of The Walking Dead. This changeability is then built in via the DC Al-Qaeda metaphor. It's a false ending, not a true one. Anyway, so um, yeah, that's pretty much what I have on the door symbolism. It's just we're thinking that it has to do with choices and it has to do with circumstances, and it's really hard to nail down because it's different in almost every particular instance, you know. And the one thing that I think we talked about it somewhere, but I didn't read was, of course, Beth going out the window in alone, and then of course that's when she's taken. And that's not really a door, it's a window, but it's kind of the side exit, right? The point is and then we have the no exit in her cell. There's a sign that says no exit, which we have always thought meant that she would be, held captive somewhere, which she was at Grady and wasn't able to leave. And so it could be that's a hint to all of this too. So I don't know how helpful this was. Like I said, we haven't really nailed it down, but this is the kind of thing that we talk about when it comes to the doors. We just noticed that when, Daryl first went into Leah's cabin, he went in through the back door, came out the front. I do think, there was that question about Grady on YouTube, and I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think they went in the same way they came out. When they went in, when Rick and Daryl, when the group went in to do the prisoner exchange, in the hallway. They went in a different door that had a key. And, the Grady cops were letting them in. It kept showing them turning the keys in the doors. And then when they came out, I don't think they came out the same way. So it's very possible that at Grady they went in the back door and came out the front. And maybe that's really what we're looking at here. But we don't know if that's the exact same symbolism as um, trying to escape out a back or side door, because those are two different things. Are they part of the same symbolism? Are they completely separate? We're not sure. So it's interesting, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. All right, well, I'm gonna cut off there for now, and I will do asks in the next video. So thanks for listening, and I will be back soon.